Mark 1. Standing over 7 feet tall, an armored space marine weighs between 500 kilograms and 1,000 kilograms. Powered by a nuclear back unit, this second skin provides life support. From magnetic boots for zero gravity to chest plates that shrug off tank shells, it is the ultimate survival suit. Let's break down every space marine power armor, starting with the OG Mark 1. The Thunder Armor was the very first version of power armor, famously used by the Thunder Warriors or the Emperor's proto-space marines during the Unification Wars on Terra. The term Thunder Armor came about later, inspired by the lightning bolt sigil known as the Raptor Imperialis. It's the personal emblem of the Emperor at the time, which was typically embossed on the breastplate. While it laid the technological foundation for all future Space Marine suits, Thunder Armor was never a true power armor by modern 40K standards because it lacked environmental sealing and life support. The Mark 1 is created by the Mechanicum to keep track of thousands of different designs. Since it was produced locally by various techno-barbarian forge cults, there was no uniform look. Individual suits were often mismatched or made from salvaged metal. The engineering behind it focused on maximizing upper body strength, using a back-mounted reactor and fiber bundle muscles. The lower body was primitive, typically with tough padded breeches. Some elite warriors used simple metal plates for protection, which made the armor extremely loud and clunky. After the final victory at Mount Ararat, the Thunder Warriors and their makeshift armor were quietly removed from the Imperial ranks. The Mark 1 now stands as a relic, serving as the improvised foundation for every suit of power armor that came after. Mark 2. As the Great Crusade began, there was a need for warriors who could endure the deadly conditions of deep space. The Emperor and the Mechanicum of Mars then developed the Crusade Armor, or Mark 2. Unlike Mark 1, the Mark II was the first suit to be environmentally sealed. This allowed Space Marines to fight in the vacuum of space and radioactive zones. The Mechanicum solved most of the major glitches. It now has full life support and powered legs. The helmet featured the first standardized autosensory devices developed on Mars. These enhance sight and hearing through a neural link to the wearer's brain. Each legion developed its own helmet variant for the Mark II. Combined with the black carapace implant, the suit became an extension of the body rather than something worn over it. The one flaw the Mechanicum couldn't solve was the leg cabling. Efficient cooling worked for the chest but couldn't be replicated down there, leaving power cables exposed along the backs of the lower legs. The articulated hoop plates that made the suit so maneuverable also made it a maintenance nightmare. By the end of the Great Crusade, the suits were wearing out faster than they could be repaired. Mark 3. The Great Crusade called for warriors who could tackle void ships and navigate tunnels beneath alien mountains, where traditional tactics just didn't cut it. When the legions arrived at the high-gravity core worlds of the squat empires, the Mechanicum stepped up with a solution, the MK3, also known as Iron Armor. The designers took away the delicate features of the MK2 and replaced them with massive, fixed frontal plates and thick layers of ablative ceramite. This transformation turned the Space Marine into a walking barricade, and to cope with the added weight, the rear plating was intentionally lightened. The suit became infamous for its power consumption and the loud clanking of its servos with every move. While it wasn't stealthy by any means, it was downright terrifying during a frontal assault. The MK3 also introduced the distinctive sloping wedge-shaped helmet. This design was meant to deflect incoming fire away from the neck seal instead of just absorbing the impact, a principle that would later influence more advanced designs. Maximus Armour. By the time the Great Crusade wrapped up, the MK2 and MK3 suits that had carried the legions across the galaxy were pretty much worn out. Thanks to some technical secrets snagged from newly conquered worlds, the Mechanicum set out to create what they hoped would be the ultimate Space Marine suit and called it the Maximus. This design was a complete overhaul, and the hoops of the earlier models were swapped out for larger, more rigid armor casings paired with flexible joints. This change made the suit lighter and a lot easier to maintain, all without compromising mobility. They even moved the armored power cables to the outside of the breastplate, finally giving them the protection. The biggest game changer was the helmet. In the earlier models, the helmet was fixed to the neck plates, which meant a Marine had to turn his whole torso just to glance sideways. But with the MK4 helmet, it was set free to move in sync with the wearer's head. This major improvement in situational awareness came after 2 centuries of fine-tuning neural connector technology. Unfortunately, the Horus Heresy cast a long shadow over the suit's legacy. Before his betrayal, Horus made sure that most of the MK4 production was redirected to the legions he intended to lead in rebellion. This left many loyalist forces scrambling to fight the early battles of the Civil War in outdated MK2 and MK3 gear. Heresy Armour. These are actually makeshift armors that artificers and tech marines threw together as supply lines crumbled during the Horus Heresy. There wasn't a standardized Mark V, instead there were countless variations, each crafted from previous Mark parts that could be salvaged from the chaos of war. The one thing they all had in common was the molecular bonding studs, an ablative method where extra layers of ceramite and plasteel were physically bolted onto existing plates. This approach allowed for better protection without relying on the infrastructure of a forge world. However, those studs added a significant amount of weight, which put a strain on the power supply and needed external cabling. To avoid dangerous heat buildup, the wearers often had to dial back their backpack's power output. This led to a frustrating cycle of reduced performance where Marines had to accept a slower, bulkier suit as the cost of survival. The helmet was adapted from the tactical Dreadnought Terminator development program. While it did offer better auto senses compared to what was available during the Civil War, it still fell short of the Mark IV it was designed to replace. After the Heresy, Loyalist chapters took apart most Mark V suits, seeing them as painful reminders of a desperate time. On the other hand, Chaos Space Marines held onto theirs. Many of the old war veterans still wear these mismatched suits even 10,000 years later. Corvus Pattern. The Mark VI Corvus Pattern emerged from a secretive development project focused on crafting a suit that focused on stealth and advanced sensory integration rather than sheer physical bulk. Originally intended to take the place of the aging Mark IV, it was the Raven Guard who put the prototypes to the test during the Scallon campaign, fine-tuning a design that would ultimately become one of the most iconic in the Astartes arsenal. One of its standout features is the Beaky helmet, which is equipped with a sophisticated array of voxcasters and autosensors tailored for reconnaissance and precision combat. This elongated snout not only enhances cooling for the suit's intricate internal systems, but also acts as a natural shield against incoming fire. In response to the supply chain issues that came up during the Heresy, the Mechanicum streamlined the internal structure, relocating the power cables behind the main chest plate. These studs transitioned from a makeshift field solution to a thoughtful design element that enabled quick repairs on the battlefield, allowing a Marine to keep his gear operational even when isolated from a primary forge world. Despite its lighter build, the Mark VI provides protection comparable to the Maximus pattern, thanks to the use of high-grade dual-density ceramite. The suit's reduced weight and improved power-to-weight ratio make it remarkably quiet, perfect for the swift, stealthy strikes that the Raven Guard and Alpha Legion excelled at. The Corvus name was officially given in tribute to Corvus Corax, the Primarch of the 19th Legion, whose warriors demonstrated the suit's effectiveness during the darkest days of the rebellion. Aquila Armour. With Horus pushing toward Mars, armor development teams secretly relocated to the laboratories beneath the Imperial Palace on Terra and completed the Aquila Armour there, ensuring it would not fall into traitor hands. It arrived just as the siege of Terra began. The most critical advancement was a reinforced chest plate that protected the power cabling behind thicker, more sophisticated armor. This redesign significantly improved frontal survivability by burying the suit's vulnerable internal systems deep beneath the primary plastron. By Imperial decree, this new plate was embossed with the Aquila, the double-headed eagle, as a permanent mark of loyalty. The eagle had belonged exclusively to the Emperor's Children Legion as a mark of honor. When Fulgrim's Legion fell to chaos, the Emperor granted it to every loyalist Astartes. Every Marine who emerged from the siege wearing Mark VII carried that transfer of honor on his chest. The helmet was a deliberate step back from the Mark VI's precision design, simpler and cheaper to produce at scale. The Mark VII also added a small solar array to the backpack, allowing limited operation without power, and parts are fully interchangeable with Mark VI. The Mark VII lineage reached its final form in the Mark VIII Errant Armor. Designed to fix the Aquila's few flaws, it added a high, armored gorget to protect the neck and fully enclose the chest cabling behind reinforced plates. 10,000 years later, it is still the most common suit of power armor in the Imperium. Despite its superiority, the Imperium's industrial decay kept it a rare honor for veterans rather than a standard replacement, and as Mark IX remains a missing link in the Mechanicus archives. Mark X Tacticus. Commissioned by Guilliman in the wake of the Horus Heresy, the Mark X was designed specifically for the Primaris Space Marine. These warriors are bigger and faster than the firstborn Marines of the past, and they needed a suit of armor that could keep up with their enhanced physiology. At its core, the Mark X connects to the wearer through the black carapace implant using a fiber bundle sublayer that replicates natural muscle movement throughout the suit. Unlike its predecessors, which relied on external cabling, everything is internal and modular. The undersuit serves as a universal power bus, and different armor modules can be configured without overhauling the base system. Tacticus is the iconic battle plate worn by the Primaris Space Marine. Its setup combines the agility of the classic Mark IV Maximus with the protection of the Mark VIII Errant. It is equipped with cutting-edge autosenses and a nuclear backpack reactor that powers the suit. The helmet boasts a sophisticated rebreather and a targeting HUD, while the plastron is thick enough to withstand heavy fire. For field commanders, the reinforced vambraces contain advanced communication systems to keep track of the battle in real time. When paired with the Mark II cowl pattern bolt rifle, a warrior clad in Tacticus armor embodies a high-tech predator. Phobos. While the Tacticus pattern favors direct confrontation, Mark X Phobos armor was designed by Belisarius Kull for stealth missions. It is a specialized, lightweight variant of the Mark X system, stripped of excess weight and bulk. Its ceramite plates are thinner to help the wearer slip through tight spaces or remain hidden in cover. The suit's servo motors are engineered to run in complete silence, allowing an armored space marine to move across a battlefield undetected. The helmet is a specialized low-profile design prioritizing long-range sensors and thermal imaging, allowing Vanguard units like infiltrators and eliminators to stalk their prey from the darkness. It is often equipped with grav chutes for silent aerial insertions and Omni scramblers to disrupt enemy communications. With unmatched agility, Reavers and Vanguard Marines outmaneuver the enemy before they even realize a Space Marine is in the room. Gravis. Developed as the heaviest configuration of the modular Mark X system, Gravis plate was designed for Primaris Marines who refused to take a step back, turning the wearer into a walking tank capable of deflecting fire that would shred standard power armor. It features multi-layered reinforced ceramite plating to house the extra cooling systems needed for its high-output power core. The Gravis helmet is unique, featuring a heavy gorget neck guard and a reinforced cowling that seals tightly against the extreme conditions of orbital re-entry. Because the suit is so heavy, it uses amplified servo motors to ensure the Marine remains mobile, allowing specialists like heavy intercessors and eradicators to carry massive high-recoil weaponry into the heart of the fighting. The most striking application of the Gravis pattern is seen in Inceptor squads. These warriors use a variant fitted with an integrated jump pack for orbital insertion drops, using the suit's incredible durability to survive the impact. Omnis Armour. The Mark X Omnis is a hybrid of the Mark X system, designed specifically for suppressor squads. It combines the heavy protection of Gravis components with the aerial agility of Phobos upper plating, structural durability below, reduced weight and freedom of movement above. To allow a Marine to stay mobile while carrying a massive accelerator autocannon, the suit pairs lighter upper plating with a jump pack and grav chute array. This allows suppressors to reach high vantage points or reposition rapidly to rain down heavy fire. Advanced stabilization systems sync the Marine's aim with the jump pack's micro thrusters to manage the weapon's recoil in flight. The helmet is tuned for long-range ballistics, feeding the pilot advanced targeting data. For Vanguard forces, the Omnis Armour is the long arm of the Primaris project, a suit that delivers the heavy fire of a tank with the sudden, terrifying mobility of an aerial insertion unit. Terminator Armour. Tactical Dreadnought armor, often referred to as Terminator plate, started as an ambitious project to replace all standard power armor. Imperial engineers took a bold step by blending combat technology with the sealed industrial exosuits that Void workers used in deadly reactor cores. The result was a wearable tank that could withstand punishment that would turn a regular soldier into mush. Unfortunately, the Horus Heresy prevented its mass production, transforming these suits into some of the rarest relics of the 41st millennium. During the Great Crusade, the Cataphracti pattern set the bar for durability. Its distinctive tiered pauldrons housed capacitors for a displacement shield, enabling a slow yet unstoppable advance. On the flip side, the Tartaros pattern was all about agility, featuring Mark IV neural links that allowed the wearer to turn their head freely, a capability that later designs couldn't match. Meanwhile, the Saturnine pattern boasted devastating plasma bombards, but at the cost of psychic attunement, with very few surviving the chaos of the rebellion. Fast forward to today, the Indomitus pattern is the current standard, easily recognized by the Crux Terminatus on the left shoulder. Specialist variants still lurk in the shadows: the Iron Hand's energy-converting Gorgon plate, the Grey Knight's demon-repelling Aegis armor, and the enigmatic reinforced Arcanak pattern. Artificer Armour. These are one-of-a-kind, hand-forged masterpieces that embody the very essence of a chapter's spirit, crafted solely for the elites, captains, chapter masters, and the most legendary veterans. It has super-dense materials and cleverly engineered damage control systems. Skilled smiths and tech marines enhance the usual ceramite with rare alloys and intricate micro-layered structures, often achieving protection levels that can rival the famed Terminator plate, all without sacrificing agility or adding unnecessary bulk. They take it a step further, using a specialized version of this armor that incorporates a maze of mechanical interfaces and servo tools right into the suit's framework. Since these suits are so rare, they are handed down through generations. Each repair and battle scar added by a new owner becomes part of the suit's rich history. Some of these suits trace back to the Great Crusade, crafted by the master artisans of the ancient Mechanicum, and others are even older, possibly from the dark age of technology. Space Wolves Runic Armour. While the rest of the galaxy relies on cold machines, the warriors of Fenris use runic armor. This special gear is a mix of high-tech engineering and ancient Viking-style mysticism. Originally called etheric rune armor, these suits were built to act like a magnet for magic, catching and canceling out dangerous psychic attacks. The science behind the suit is a bit of a mystery that causes arguments. The tech experts of Mars officially call it the Lupio Pattern Mark XII. They claim the protection comes from hidden induction circuitry buried in the metal. However, the Space Wolves believe the power comes from the symbols carved into the surface. Each rune is carved individually, usually from the bones or teeth of Fenrisian beasts by the rune priest who inscribes them, and each carries a specific intent. They say it protects the soul against the warp the same way the ceramite plates armor against the weapons of the enemy. Most of these suits are incredibly old, dating back thousands of years, and because they are so rare, they are only given to the bravest warriors in the chapter. Centurion Warsuit. Recovered during the Age of Apostasy, this STC template became the crown jewel of a desperate quest to rediscover lost technology in the 36th millennium. Unlike typical power armor, the Centurion is a colossal outer shell that fits over existing plate armor. It acts as an additional layer of protection so tough that it turns a Space Marine into a walking fortress for siege warfare. The process of integrating with this suit is nothing short of a grueling mental and physical challenge. A Marine enters through the back, linking up with power cables to a machine spirit. This layered system skips the black carapace, leading to synchronization delay. New pilots often find themselves in a trance-like mental battle to master the suit. These suits are built for durability rather than the quick reflexes that seasoned veterans might prefer, which is why they're usually manned by Devastator and Assault specialists, warriors who value overwhelming firepower over agile maneuvers. The engineering of the Centurion is impressive, boasting its own power source. It stands tall above a Terminator and uses heavy dampening fields to absorb the kick from its tank-grade weaponry. The Assault variant comes with siege drills that can turn adamantium-reinforced walls into mush, while the Devastator variant acts as a mobile heavy weapons platform. Despite its slower pace, there's no denying the Centurion's power, because in siege warfare, speed becomes irrelevant when you're an unstoppable force. Thanks for watching until the end. Click here to check out another video and see you in the next one.